Can't forget this. Hello. Taurus, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation. In these weekly videos, I review the major planetary aspects and transits and how they're going to aspect your natal sun and what that means for your bottom line. I start off really broad with the charts for the week to sort of the global energy. And then I focus that down into Taurus specific energy and information. And then I'll break everything down into the 3 decans of Taurus so that I can locate your natal suns based on your birth dates and see what aspects are forming to them. And then I'll be able to let you know how your week may go. So let's start off really broad, Taurus, shall we? This is for the week of September 21st to the 27th of 2023. Big news! We have Libra season. It's beginning, but it's not just Libra season. Anytime the sun enters a cardinal sign, it marks a seasonal change. That's right. The beginning of Libra season marks the autumnal equinox. And that is when both day and night are equal amounts. And how perfect is that to enter into Libra season? Now, the spring equinox is Aries. And you know Aries ain't all kinds of like leveled out and balanced. But here in the fall, as we enter Libra season and we kick it off with that beautiful equinox that is like daylight hours, night hours are completely equal. It puts us into a different frame of mind, and I've already felt it, and fall has always had this effect on me. And no, it's not even my favorite season. Summer is my favorite season. So it's not about like personal preferences. There is an energy of calm and coziness, and certainly that I think is ushered in by the coming of the colder weather. And in Texas, that translates to it's finally 85 degrees and we're not hitting triple digits. So that's something to be happy about. But it's like it really is that sense of things are mellowing and things are balancing out. So there is a beautiful harmony that is here. A couple days after the 27th or 29th, we're going to have a full moon in Aries that's coming. Actually going to be a very peaceful moon, especially compared to the other moons that have been happening. Actually going to be a very peaceful moon. So I love the feeling. Now, as the sun slides into Libra, it is in opposition to Neptune, and that is a bit of a concern. And I say this because it's challenging energy. Neptune in opposition to anything is very distracting and very delusional, illusion making, like misguiding and misrepresenting. It is not an easy energy when it is in opposition to the sun, which we kind of depend on to define who we are, what our world is, by the light, right? Neptune comes in and it distorts it, like playing with the spectrum or, reverberating it in a different way or switching up colors. It's a lot easier to deceive people in this energy. We also have another challenging energy of Mars opposite Chiron, which is deceptive in and of itself because what it does is make you feel like you're never going to get anything done. Like what you do isn't good enough. You have to overcompensate. This could actually lead to more injuries, absolutely. Because you're trying to overcompensate and you could push yourself in ways that you're not ready. And then we also have a sesquiquadrate, which is a minor aspect, but it's a sesquiquadrate between Mars and Saturn. And I'm mentioning it simply because Mars and Saturn have this sesquisquare going on between them, and Saturn and Chiron have a semi-square between them. And so there is this trifecta of malignancy that is in the air right now, making us feel like, are we incompetent? Like we can't do something right, like something is going wrong, but we don't, like something is holding us back. And I gotta say, that's the biggest deception of all. Something is going on, is all I can say. Something is not as it seems, and will take deeper inquiry to really figure out. Now, the good news is Mercury is going direct, and Mercury is trine to Jupiter. That doesn't necessarily mean good stuff, though. It could just mean that there are a lot of words, lots of great sounding words, lots of information, but what information is important? It could be very difficult to discern that in this energy. Now, Mars is also sextile to Venus, which is about virility and reproduction. It is a sexy energy, and Venus is causing a little trouble this week. So Venus is sextile to Mars, while Mars is kind of compromised. So we could be overcompensating with our romantic relationships or sexual energies for places that we don't feel so good about, or to try to like get some momentum to break out of the rut. Venus is square to Jupiter through the 24th. Venus is also square to Uranus all week long. If you remember a couple months ago in Leo season, this happened when Venus was in retrograde. She was square to Uranus and Jupiter at the same time. And that is disruptive energy. To be rebellious and to be overindulgent at the same time could fuck up a lot of relationships. I'm just going to lay it on the line. It could really mess people up. And I got to stress that point to you guys, especially Taurus, because Venus is your ruling dignitary. So that could have a profound effect on you just wanting something outside of the norm, desiring it outside of the norm in this energy, especially if you're in a committed relationship that matters to you. It is best to let people have their space and be individuals. Encourage their individualism, encourage their freedom. And if you're going to try to experiment with each other. Like, have fun and make this something playful. That is the potential of the square to actually make your relationship stronger. But you do have to face the challenge. Venus does have a grounding energy, and that is Chiron. Mars is interacting with Chiron. Opposition to Chiron, Venus is trine to Chiron, and Saturn is semi-square to Chiron. Hello, Chiron is the center of many, many things right now. Venus is trine, which means harmonizing. So this harmonizing energy, this easement of sorts, this peace when it comes to our sensuality and our desires and what we find attractive, as well as scars from the past, stuff that has hurt us in the past and made us question our value. So this is a week that needs a great deal of balance. But I think that to me, it feels like almost a juggler throwing all the balls in the air, and that there's chaos in that, but it's also what is preceding things actually balancing themselves out. We also have Saturn doing something interesting with the North and South node. Saturn is sextile the North node and trine the South node, which tells me that there is sort of this easement or excitement about the future now as we put to rest the past and ease out of the past. I said this on the Aries video, Taurus. I said it's almost like rules, laws, and regulations are more open to change, or the status quo, the powers that be, becoming more open to change once they know that things have been put in place so they can't get in trouble for what they've done in the past. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're so much easier to be open to the future if we know that the past isn't going to catch up to us. So there is that sort of juxtaposition that's happening there now. Interesting energy, guys. Interesting energy. Let me help make it make sense for you, Taurus. Let's go into Taurus specific energy. So what I do is I look at what's going on in Taurus and what's going on with your ruling dignitary. Your ruling dignitary is Venus. What's going on in Taurus? Jupiter is there in the second decan of Taurus. It's going to retrograde, because it's in retrograde, between 15 to 14 degrees. That means it is still conjunct the natal suns of those of you born mid-Taurus season. And then Uranus is at 22 degrees, holding steady all this week. It is still conjunct the natal suns of those of you born in the third decan of Taurus. This is expansive energy, Taurus. This is outside of expand, like grow, get outside the box, do things that are new. That is not particularly Taurus energy, like it's but I gotta say, while it's with you, it's helping you to grow and learn about different aspects, dynamics of yourself that maybe you didn't even realize were there, but they are. And they're meant to change you in positive ways. Venus. Let's talk about Venus. So we already did talk about Venus a little bit. Venus is square to Jupiter through the 24th. That means up to the 24th, she'll be simultaneously square to Jupiter and Uranus, sextile to Mars, and trine to Chiron. That bitch is shaking shit up. That's exactly what she's doing, and she's going to have an impact on you. So you could be a little bit disruptive and acting out of the ordinary this week. Enjoy it. This is the kind of thing, this is the kind of energy that creates those Girls Gone Wild videos. Like this is the kind of week where you have the time of your life, Taurus, but you may regret it for the rest of your life. Like is that kind of energy? I just hope whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Let's get into the decans. The 3 decans of Taurus. If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Taurus, it is in the first 10 degrees of Taurus. So you guys are Taurus 1. This correlates to Taurus birthdays in April, essentially April 22nd through May 1st. That would be you guys. In and around there. That can fluctuate at the beginning or the end, but most of y'all in the middle, you safe. Your natal suns have been in a long-term sextile to Saturn. We have talked about this before. That means it's a great opportunity this year, because it's a year-long aspect, for you to really grow your career and grow up. Like come into yourself as in personal responsibility and authority, and finding that people respect you and open up doors for you because of that. So this is a really constructive year overall. This week, your natal suns are quincunx to the sun, which means there could be frustration, agitation that plucks at your ego. And it's doing it to kind of put the spur in your side to make you go forward. But you're going to find shit challenging your ego. And then we have a long-term square to Pluto, but only cusps only. So say April 21st, 22nd, 23rd is really the cusp between you and Aries. Your natal suns are square to Pluto. What does that mean? Well, it means you're not going to have as much patience with people. It means you could like be very much more black and white, like cut and dry, and find yourself going to the extremes or settling on the extremes a lot more quickly, and making up your mind a lot more quickly, because you'll have very definitive opinions on things. It's a square, so it could cause tension between you and other people. They could find you off-putting in a way, but they also will take you seriously. You'll notice for this whole year into next year, when you walk into the room, even if you don't think that you've acted or behaved differently, people will interpret you a little bit more abrasively. Just an FYI. You're not going to be able to control it. It's got to do with Pluto. But if you're aware of it, you become aware of it, you could make appropriate concessions. You know, the awareness is going to help you modulate it a little bit to work in your favor. Let's go on to Taurus 2s. If you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Taurus, it's in the second group of 10 degrees of Taurus. So you guys are Taurus 2s. This correlates to Taurus birthdays between, say, May 1st or 2nd through the 11th. It's your natal suns that are conjunct to Jupiter, and that gives you a real big head. You can get way ahead of yourself and think way too much of who you are and how you're performing, when in reality other people didn't consider you that way. So just be aware. It's very optimistic energy, but it could be unrealistically optimistic energy. So it's really good to check yourself during this conjunction. You have a square to Venus, which is your ruling dignitary, which is weird. It's almost like you're being challenged by a permanent part of yourself, which is the desirable, sensual part. So there could be some clash right now between you and what you want and the desires of that nature. Your natal suns are square to Venus through the 25th. This is not going to be the greatest week. Well, it's not the greatest week to meet new people. When it comes to your relationships, it actually is a pretty nice week if you have a strong relationship and you face this stuff together, it will tighten you up and make you even stronger as a couple. For those of you who are a weak couple, it could break you up. I'm just letting you know. Not a good time to change your hair. Watch how much money, because Venus is also, Jupiter's there, right? Watch how much money you spend. This is overindulgent, decadent energy. Watch it. Like, be particularly vigilant. You also have a trine to Mercury, which is going to make speaking very easy. But because of that square, conjunction to Jupiter, square to Venus, and trine to Mercury, beware of overpromising things. Beware of making statements that you don't necessarily understand or know about as well as you're saying you know about, or overpromising, overextending yourself, especially financially in terms of your resources. It could make you a little bit braggadocious, just an FYI. You also have a quincunx to Mars, which means that there will be agitation when it comes, which means that you'll be a little quicker to anger. And you'll be a little bit more impulsive. So this is something to be aware of. Like I said, it could be a very fun week, but you could end up regretting it. Just an FYI. Let's go on to Taurus 3s. If you know your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Taurus, it's in the third decan, or last group of 10 degrees of Taurus. So your Taurus 3s. Birthdays, it's like May 12th through the 22nd, in and around those dates. Your natal suns are the ones conjunct to Uranus, which means your freak is coming out in a good way. But it's also like it's more about asserting your own individuality and own personal identity, and being ready to have it be seen, and letting people know who the heck you are as defined by you, not by anybody else. And that's over the next year plus. Your natal suns are going to be square to Venus from the 25th on. So this is especially going to impact those of you born around, say, the 12th, 13th. It just like for Venus, just like for Taurus 2s, it can make you extra indulgent, extra decadent, extra flamboyant, and also like over impulsive when it comes to extra indulgent, right? So it is definitely something you're going to love it and you're going to feel really good about yourself, but ultimately there is also this sense of overdoing the sensual pleasures and the attention you need. You have a sextile to Neptune, which is it's been that way and it will be there for quite some more time. This is beautiful energy for creativity and to find those natural talents and skills you have with creativity, as well as your connection to faith, maybe your connection to God and different kinds of belief systems, as well as your connection to your own psychic abilities. That's a very expansive energy. And then we have a long term for this year square to Saturn, which means you're clashing with what you've always done, or with the powers that be, with authority figures, commitments, rules, laws, and it's harder for you to restrain yourself and restrict yourself because you feel so restrained and restricted externally, right? This could be when you have a lot of money problems. This could be when you have trouble finding a job. That's training you. It's teaching you how strong you are, how capable you are. It's teaching you how to be more malleable. But it's a pain in the ass, and it lasts for about a year. It's just FYI. It's not forever. And then we have a trine to Pluto, which is beautiful energy of personal change and growth and being happy about it and having people take you seriously when you walk into the room, unlike Taurus 1s. You guys will have almost a calming effect. People will follow you more. You'll find that your authority isn't questioned as much and people just take you more seriously. You let me know how this has been impacting you guys in the comments below. Please remember to like this video if you liked the video, and then let me know if you found it useful. If so, share it with somebody else that you might find or think would find it useful and enjoy it. And then remember to subscribe to the channel so that we grow over here on Astrology Motivation. I love you guys, and I invite you over to Born Without Boundaries Tarot for your week ahead tarot card reading. I will talk to you guys in the videos. Bye, Taurus.